Hi, enjoyed this Wheel of Time Season 3 review by me and my friend Nawar. We are both book fans, and I apologize in advance for the video quality. I don't know what happened, but we had a lot of fun talking about the Wheel of Time Season 3 and our opinions, what we liked, what we didn't like, what we're hoping for Season 4, because we need a Season 4. So enjoy, and there are a couple of more video of Wheel of Time that is going to be coming soon ish. So until then, enjoy this.
I'm just saying let's get right into it. Let's get
Okay.
right
Yeah.
into the Wheel of Time season 3. Uh,
Hell yeah.
I, in fact, I think almost with every series, there is one of two ways you can go with it. Either the first season is amazing and then it's downhill from there, or
Hmm.
the first season is like the lowest point, and then the only way is up from here.
Hopefully,
Or
yeah, yeah,
I mean, I've never seen a series where it's like peaks and valleys. I've almost with every series I felt like okay, it's either going upwards or it's gonna go downwards. So
yeah.
that's what I felt like personally. This is like my favorite season of Wheel of Time, even though we have gotten just 3 seasons. If I had to rank
Hmm.
1, 2, 3, the third will be like the best one.
Yes, for sure. Yeah, I agree. I think season two had potential, but there was a lot of decisions they made in season two that really just bothered me. That I just don't understand, like why they like. I feel like Perrin was wasted all of season
Oh
two.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah, the whole story. I mean, like the whole. I can see why. Okay, we're not gonna do them with Rand like going in a certain direction and then going through the portal stones to the other two Falm, but
yeah.
still, it was just a lot of just following and Perrin looking sad
Yes.
for
Yeah.
a lot of
Exactly. And I feel like the wardrobe they put him in, like he was like wearing this like big bulky
it.
like shirt vest thing that like made him seem smaller when he's supposed to be like
Yeah.
this big guy, which we see finally in season three. Yeah, it was I don't know, it's weird. I get I guess a little bit precious about Perrin because that's been my favorite character since I
Hmm.
started the books.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, so there was that. I mean, there's so many things that like they didn't set up. So when those setups in the book are supposed to happen, they don't happen in the show because they never had the beginning part, so it doesn't make
Hmm.
sense for them to have it. It's just like, what do we do? Like, I mean, the whole scene whenever he does show up, when Rand shows up to Fawn, and he's supposed to be in a sword fight,
Yeah.
and like that, and then instead he just does the ultimate magic.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
He
and you're
does
like,
the
all
Indiana
right,
Jones equivalent of let me guess,
exactly,
I have a
exactly,
gun.
yeah. So yeah, so I think in that way, season three redeemed a lot of stuff. I
Hmm.
feel like they took more time to set up a lot of things and pay off those setups. Um, uh, I mean, I think like even just kind of jumping around, like even Nynaeve breaking her block.
Hmm.
Because the show like just never has her channel except for when she's getting beat
Yeah.
up, and so it's like we, I can't watch Nynaeve not be powerful for 10 seasons and then finally have that
I
change.
know.
Yeah, so
I mean, with the books, it's easy to like say like okay, then she's thinking about something and getting angry, and then like that passion is coming.
yeah,
But it doesn't translate well. I mean, a lot of people will just miss that. Even I would be like, uh,
yeah,
that's simply very easy to do, and like that block wouldn't come through because you have to be sometimes really heavy-handed in converting it to television.
yeah, yeah. And I mean it is like it's it's such a hard thing to I think sorry, I'm jumping around, but I do think that like I think the actress could pull it off. I think she
Yeah,
could portray I mean she showed she could portray like subtle emotions and very interesting facial
yeah.
expressions to do that stuff. But I just think they didn't do it in the first 16 episodes that we saw, so it doesn't make sense for her to all of a sudden start being angry and tugging on her hair and
Yeah,
doing all that stuff in the books.
should
But
have been
also
moderate.
I'm fine with it, dude, because I don't like how long it takes in the books either.
Yeah, I mean, like, we do miss out on a lot of hair tugging and hands, that
Yeah.
classic Jordan stuff obsession. uh
Yes. Yeah.
but I think with season 2, uh I think they got off on a very, not a wrong foot, but rather a very unstable foot because of the departure of Barney, and
Yeah.
them having to like retrofit. Okay, how does Matt's journey go? Because it's quite opposite to the
Hmm.
books. How his
Yeah.
journey.
I'm still not sure how they're gonna pull that off with
Mhm.
the what they did in the end of season three. But yeah, I agree. Like I think I mean obviously that's a huge thing to have to go through in the middle of shooting a show. And I mean and to that point, like as a as a fan, I was excited for season one, and by the time I finished, I was like, this isn't the best fantasy series that I've ever
Yeah.
seen, but I did enjoy it still. Um and yeah, but I mean I do like that's such a huge thing. Thankfully they found another actor to come in and just absolutely kill it
Oh yeah.
as Matt. He does it so well, and so yeah, it was good to see like that change. But yeah, the complications there of what they went through, I'm sure, messed up a lot of things.
Uh,
And I mean, at least with season one ending poorly, the book one ends poorly anyway. So it seems on brand, right? It's
yeah.
canon.
Yeah, but like at least with this show, I'm like, okay, even if I was not a book reader, I was
Hmm.
like, it's an okay ending, but at least I know
Yeah,
what's going on.
yeah, yeah,
Uh, and like honestly, if I wasn't a book reader, I would have enjoyed season 1 a lot more.
yeah.
I feel like.
I
Uh,
think so. Yeah. I mean, it's the other part of it too is that being a non-book reader, it's hard to take yourself out of the nuance of things that you
mhm.
know, of like the deep understanding of like how the magic system works.
Yeah.
And then so when the show does something different for convenience, you're if you're only watching the show, you're not betrayed by the knowledge of like Rand can't do that. Or
Egwene,
Lan doesn't understand what weaving
Can't
is.
bring Nynaeve back from the dead.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
We just like whoosh, kid
Yes.
aside.
Yeah. So God, yeah. I don't know, but yeah, I mean, I think so. It all culminates into what we get with season three, and season three, like, I mean, immediately is just better.
Yeah.
Um, and you know, everybody looks great. Everybody is on a good trajectory for their story. I think my favorite decision that they made with season three is that in the books, the the boys, the Perrin, Matt, and Rand, all are so immature for so long.
Yeah.
And I mean, they're young. They're like 18,
Yeah.
19 or whatever when the story starts. Um, so it's fine. But they also like, I think Rubber Jordan just extends that immature decision making beyond what it should be reasonably done. And I think I really enjoy one that this story in the show starts out with them being older, and then two that they make more mature decisions. Like I think like with Matt saying like I'm sticking with Nynaeve because even though Nynaeve maybe can't channel like the rest of you,
Hmm.
this is the person I know is going to take care of me and help me get past this. And I think that that's so good. Where like in the books, he's like he treats Nynaeve like crap most of
Yeah.
the time, and then and then saves her. And then he's like, "Oh well, I came in to save you, and you don't even appreciate me." And just like, I guess it's a fun dynamic in the books, but it's just like I really enjoyed seeing him be like, "No, this is a person from my village who I trust, who I know cares about my best interest, and that's who I'm going to stay with." Um, I really really enjoyed that decision a lot.
Uh, what about some story decisions that took place during, I think, throughout all the three seasons? Like my first gripe with, at least, I mean, because I'm a book fan first, so
Yeah,
my first thing was, okay, you made like Matt's family so toxic, and like not toxic, like so. I was like, oh no, where are
yeah,
they going with this? Uh,
yeah.
uh,
That was a weird decision because I think too, like His dad becomes not like integral to the story, but
Yeah.
he plays a pretty significant role in a lot of the Two Rivers
Yeah.
storyline,
Yeah.
um, right alongside Rand's dad. And
Yeah.
so that was a weird, yeah, that was a weird decision. I was like, what? I guess like I don't know. I guess I wrote it off as like them trying to justify his bad behavior,
Mm,
but I don't think it was really necessary. Like
yeah.
there's plenty of kids who have good families that are just troublemakers, and that you know
Yeah. That's true.
who are just get addicted to gambling or whatever, and I think all of that would have been fine and made sense. So yeah, I don't really, and I don't know. And then it seems like they sort of abandoned that anyway once we get back to the Two
Yeah.
Rivers in season three. So
I mean, like in season three, Matt's dad and Rand's dad both are not around.
right,
I can't recall if they said. I think they said like, okay, they're off hiding somewhere. Uh,
yeah,
and I think that might just be like a scheduling issue. Otherwise, I'm 100% sure they would have wrote him into the, him being. I mean, like you again, you can't foresee this, right?
yeah,
You
yeah,
can't just keep replacing actors. I mean, they did replace Egwene's mom, though.
yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, her,
They did slip that one by us.
yeah, she's not just like this slipped by the person who was playing Ivan, if I'm not wrong.
um,
I think that's another actor who was changed.
no, I want to say that's the same person still
Is it?
because I did, yeah,
Because I read somewhere that either Maxim or Ivan, one of them was changed.
interesting. I'd have to go look, but I do feel like I was recently rewatching.
I think that might be from
Um,
season 1 to 2 rather than
maybe, maybe
yeah.
because there is a scene. There's a scene whenever Nynaeve is training with them at the
Hmm.
tower,
Hmm.
and it's the same guy.
Okay, okay, okay. Then
Yeah,
it might
both
have been
both of them.
from season 1 to 2. Then I might have been
Maybe, yeah.
incorrect there.
Hmm.
Uh,
Yeah, yeah, but I don't know. And then yeah, there's a lot of things like I mean, characters that are alive and present because Egwene's father's in season one also, and then
yeah,
he just isn't around in
yeah,
season three, and they don't even like talk about it. I don't
exactly.
think
Seriously, there's a
there's
lot of things they don't talk about, including Matt's dagger.
yeah, yeah,
And
that
yeah, that's still like some of the things that bothers me. I don't know if it was there and it was cut out in the cutting room floor,
yeah,
because at the end of season three we just see Min just bonk the Aes Sedai on the head,
yeah.
and then just they just leave.
And they just
Like,
walk away.
I mean, you do see his what's that called?
The Ashendari,
Yeah, the Ashendara, they're like him hanging from it, but then there's
yeah,
nothing there. They're just on a boat.
yeah. I don't know how. Yeah, that's another question that I'm not sure. I do feel like episode is it 8 that
Yeah,
is the final episode of this. I feel like episode 8 could have used 10 more minutes to clean that
I
up.
know. And
Um yeah, cuz that it's going to be I don't know. It's going to be weird to figure out how they are going to bring that back around because they get on a boat and presumably they're going to Tyr, I guess would be
yeah,
my guess, but like why would he ever go back to Tanchico then to go get that? You know,
yeah.
I
He
don't.
must already have it, and if he has it, then
Yeah,
I mean that scene would. I'm sure they could find a way to cut it or to add it, which wouldn't take more than a couple of minutes, or
yeah,
just
yeah,
acknowledge, huh, what's that? Even just a
yeah,
little bit of that, it would be like fans like,
yeah,
hey, it's there.
yeah,
We do get like the Fox medallion, which is like at
hmm
least thank God we at least got that through. Otherwise,
yeah,
and just another gripe with not the show but the streaming service itself.
hmm
It's a streaming service. You don't run ads in between where you have like a strict, schedule to follow.
yeah,
People can watch
yeah,
longer shit if they want.
yeah,
You can add a 10 more minutes to the entire season and like flesh it out
hmm
more.
yeah,
And considering like, okay, fleshing out. Talking about fleshing out more, and somebody's flesh getting cut off. Uh,
Hmm.
Swan.
Yeah, jeez. Yeah, that made me cry. I when I first my first reaction was like, no, impossible. This is a character who's in the last book of the
Yeah.
series. But as I thought about it, I kind of am okay with it. Like,
I mean, their justification makes sense. I mean, you can't
yeah,
have like an actor of that caliber and then reduce it to like, okay, not, as a side character, but somebody who's just, like coming in and out, in and out. Like they need to
yeah,
get their moment to shine. And I'm like, okay, fair. That makes sense. I
yeah,
can get with that. Uh,
yeah,
and like obviously it was a very like emotional gut punch, right?
yeah.
Like gut
Hmm.
punch through. But one thing I'm still salty about, even though like people were like they're fine with it, and I don't like that decision, is
Hmm.
them killing off Loyal. uh,
Yeah,
I'm like,
that.
I'm like, okay, I can see why you did that, but
Yeah,
again, okay, Loyal is not extremely, pivotal to like the plot, and you can find ways to do that with other Ogier and going to the steadings and everything. But
hmm,
he is kind of a lore keeper role that he
yeah,
plays, where
yeah,
he literally documents the history, where he documents the story of, the Dragon Reborn, and I think they have just like reduced it to okay, him documenting the story of Menetherin.
hmm,
Uh, I'm like, sure, you can, okay, fine.
yeah. I think I wouldn't have been so upset about it if they didn't already try to kill him in season one, and then just
That's just
hand wave it and not say anything,
that
like
whole
just pretend like
thing.
it didn't happen.
That whole thing bothers me so much.
Didn't they also stab Perrin too
Yeah, they stabbed everyone. Parenfin just
with
like
the with the
with
with
the
the dagger?
with the dagger, and they just like let's just
Yeah,
fight it off. That never happened. Sure, it's like
that's so wild. Yeah,
that's another one of those things. Thank, I mean, like, okay, I'm gonna be bothered about it forever, even though like season,
yeah,
at least we got a season. I'm gonna bother about it forever, and that's one of the things that people also latch on to when hating on the Wheel of Time, is all the
yeah,
differences from the books. I'm like, okay, stop cherry picking.
yeah,
They will. They went like for the last battle in season one when Egwene and Nynaeve just to walk onto the battlefield from somewhere. They were like, see how
yeah,
bad the show is. I'm like, no, I mean, you're cherry picking, you're nitpicking, cherry picking shit, which it's not a
yeah,
big deal.
yeah.
Um,
Like we have to accept that in a show
hmm.
they are going to just elapse the time between you walking through a castle and getting outside. Like that to me is like an easy suspension of disbelief. I think like, yeah, there's so many little things like that for sure that you can pick at. I mean, and then okay, here's the my biggest problem with the whole loyal thing is that he has the Evan de Sora leaf and then just doesn't take it out from the inside and lock the door.
I know. Oh God, yeah, I didn't even.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if he did that, like let's say he locked the gate from the
Mhm.
outside or whatever, and then he dies in the fight outside with the Trollocs. I don't know. I don't know if there's a. I don't know.
Could they use
It's
like a
a
different
weird thing.
Aventus or a leaf to open it?
Yeah, I don't know. It's such a weird. I mean, at least he died a hero instead of just getting stabbed and being brought back to life.
Yeah, I
And
hope they
I mean,
don't bring it back to
his
it.
fight scenes were great with the hammer. Like that was such a fun,
Oh yeah. I mean, I
you
would
know.
have like spoilers for the last book of the Wheel of Time.
Hmm.
Spoilers.
Yeah,
When the Ogier wield their weapons, it's like a
yeah,
slaughter.
yeah,
And,
yeah,
and like everyone's shocked, like, holy shit, these guys are fucking crazy.
hmm,
I'm so glad
yeah,
these guys are peaceful.
yeah,
Otherwise, they would just massacre everyone. And like, okay, we
Yeah.
got a little bit of that with him wielding the hammer, although we got like, I think in the books he's very passive till much later in the books, I think, as well.
Yeah, he has a couple moments. I want to say when he first encounters them, he does it, and then I think he does like they don't. I don't think they show it right, but they speak about his aggressiveness in fighting when he goes to close the gate the first time in
Uh-huh.
the Two Rivers. But yeah, there for the most part he is pretty much out of it and pretty peaceful, and he doesn't want to fight. Like
Yeah.
it's not like in his nature.
He's
So yeah,
he's a nerd.
yeah, yeah. And yeah, I mean, truly. Um, so yeah, and then I don't know, and they just do so many things. I think like as a storyteller, right, doing TTRPG stuff, like I think one of the things that I've learned just watching visual media is that people don't like fake out deaths.
Yeah.
They don't want to like, you know what I mean? And
I've seen
like you
enough
can
of
only
them.
do it so many times, you know what I mean? Like The Walking Dead really burned a bridge with a lot of fans because of doing multiple fake out deaths in a season, and then you've already done a fake out death and then you killed off another and very important person to the
Yeah.
story, and people just really don't like it. And I feel like the same way, like I feel like um, how many times they mess with Alana really bothers me. um,
Hmm.
uh, Alana in the books, couldn't care less. I don't really like that character very much at all.
Yeah.
Alana in the TV show, that is my queen. You will not touch her. Please be nice.
Absolutely. Priyanka Bhopal.
Yeah, incredible.
Incredible.
Um, yeah, yeah, uh, um, yeah. And so, just leave her alone, please. Just stop doing this. Because yeah, to get the same thing with her, like these injuries should kill you.
Yeah.
Um, and I don't know the plot armor there. I'm glad that she's alive, but also that's a frustrating decision that they keep making there.
Yeah, I mean, like the fake out that's in generally in storytelling bothers me so much, and it's there in the Wheel
Yes.
of Time as well. One of the big
Yeah.
things which we can't talk about right now, like there
Yeah.
are two like big things with
Yeah.
Remastered which I can't talk about because it's like a
Yeah.
major spoiler, and like oh
Yes. Yeah.
god, I'm wondering
Yeah.
how they're gonna do that, and if they're gonna do that.
Yeah. Without getting into the details, I do think that I think it's going to be how they solve like who should be with Egwene for the remainder
Hmm.
of the story. I think that's how they're going to resolve it, and we could talk about it off camera because that's what I think is going to happen. Um, but yeah, it's really annoying that they're doing it. But yeah, I mean, like, there's a lot of really good things. I think it's interesting the choices they made, like of letting Avienda still use spears even
Hmm.
though
Yeah.
she's channeling, because that's like a big thing she gets in trouble for uh, in the books
Yeah.
is like
Like
her desire to be a maiden, and they're like, you are not a
you're
maiden
not a
anymore,
maiden.
quit.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not a maiden of the spear anymore, quit picking up spears, quit fighting. You're an apprentice to the wise ones.
And
um
that's another thing that the haters were gonna cherry pick on. I'm sure of it. Like, huh, this is
yeah,
not in the books because Robert Jordan did not write it that way. I'm like, brother,
yeah,
you can like take a look at any adaptation and the writers
hmm,
not being happy with how it's adapted, but the people love it. And
yeah,
it's
yeah,
not shitting on Robert Jordan.
right,
Like it's just like it does not translate well and it's gonna focus on some things which can just be like,
yeah,
yeah, not many people are gonna remember anyway.
yeah, for sure. Oh, another, so I really loved Mogedion, or Mogadine, however you
Oh,
say her name.
Moggy.
God, yeah, that actress did incredible characterizing that.
She gives me the creeps every time she's on the screen.
Yeah.
That just is a
Yeah.
testament to like how brilliant she is. Plus,
I think it was a comment in one of your videos. Somebody was like, "She's like a creepy Bjork," and I was like, "Yeah,
oh yeah,
that's
oh
exactly
yeah,
it." Yeah,
she is a creepy Bjork. Plus, I don't know if it's the French accent which like makes it somehow. not sinister, but it reminds me of Dimension 20s. I think that Riz Gag or whatever shtick that Venom did. Um,
Oh yeah.
that the Baron had a friend
Yeah.
like Samuel,
Yeah.
and just like gives me that kind of vibes, that creepy vibes. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
creepy AF. I don't
Yeah.
like that. I don't want it
Yeah.
in me.
It's the accent, and it's like the like sort of like baby voice she
Yeah, the
uses,
ooh voice
and
that she uses.
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
know.
She's like a creepy doll.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. But yeah, so all of her stuff was great. And I bring that up to say I love everything that they did, but I also another fake out death is the whole Samael thing, which is like,
Mm,
oop, Samael died. And we're like, okay,
yeah.
Samael dies. Forsaken died silly ways all the time. Oh no, he's brought back. Oh, they're filling in for a different Forsaken. Oh
Oh,
nope, we killed
we
him.
killed him.
Just to show you McGinn
Yeah,
is, and it's like,
yeah,
okay.
that also bothered me. Like, okay, you didn't need to do literally any of that.
Yeah.
You're just filling
Like,
in space.
give us those minutes back and then finish the episode in a way that closes out things neatly.
I mean,
I
like,
think we could
you
have done.
could have like a very clean Samael that at the hands of Ran in the previous episode itself, and not even cared about like Magidian being there or not, or
Right.
uh,
Yeah.
uh, what's that, Raven and uh,
Yeah.
her having
And
a
Lanfear.
conversation. Yeah, Raven and
Yeah.
Manfred having. I mean, it's not like it doesn't it doesn't really add that much. Just shows like, okay, Mogideon's creepy. This is a great set piece. That's it.
Yeah.
Uh,
I think, yeah. I mean, truly, because now they're going to have to solve the problem of who's going to help Rand learn how to channel anyway.
yeah,
Like, you just recreated a problem you solved.
I know. I mean, like
And
you solved the problem, and
yeah,
now you created it again. Like, how are you gonna
yes.
solve it?
And you spent all that time shooting and editing and making those scenes when literally just take those minutes back and let us see what happens to Matt's spear. That's all we want.
I know. Uh,
Like what happens to Amiko or Yumiko, the black Aja Aes Sedai that gets knocked out by
oh yeah,
Min. Like
nothing.
I want to know. Um,
It's
so yeah,
just never acknowledged. It's like, oh,
yeah,
you can it have she dies off screen. Is what's happened, off screen deaths. Oh god, those bother me a lot. But
yeah,
yeah, and a lot of times you can't just do anything about it. I'm sure I'm missing out on
yeah.
a few things, but I've spoken about this in my reactions as well, like them choosing to go for an anamorphic look this time, which is very filmic look this time, definitely played in parts of it, making it look beautiful.
Hmm.
But I still have a problem with blocking the shots, as in how you
Yeah,
set up those shots, because a lot of it is it's still very ad light, very soft lighting, even
yeah,
though you see there's a sun out. You can have harsh lighting, you can have those fields, which Game of Thrones and Lord of the Rings do, and that's
hmm,
one of the reasons why it makes it feels huge. And I'm like, I wish, like, okay, maybe you can do something interesting with the lighting, maybe give us some nice like dialogue between two people with some interesting blocking, which can make it feel larger than life. Just imagine Lord
yeah.
Baelish and uh, who's that other person, the bald guy?
Oh,
Yeah,
Viren.
yeah. Them having a conversation just near the throne itself is just a conversation, but the way it's blocked and the way that they're talking to each other, it looks like larger than life at the
Yes,
moment.
yeah, 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 yeah.
So like you could like give us a bit more of that as well, and you could solve
Hmm.
so many things during that time. Just like they
Yeah,
tried to solve for, oh, another fake out there, Tom Marilyn. That's there in the books as well.
yeah. That is in
So
the
I'm like,
books. Yeah,
okay, that's book accurate, and he just like
yeah,
shows up, and you're happy, but you're like, sure.
yeah,
I mean, like in the books,
yeah,
it felt more like because you were with Tom for such a long time since the start of the book. His like
yeah,
it felt, oh my god, thank God Tom's back, and I'm like, huh, he was there for that one episode or
yeah,
couple of
yeah,
episodes, and he swindled Matt and Rand. Uh,
yeah.
so it just
Yeah, because in the books he like teaches them to play
oh,
instruments and like helps them like figure out how to like survive basically out in the world. Um,
I mean,
yeah,
so yeah, that's another thing, and they try to solve it. Thank God they're bringing the cloak back and not keeping it inside of his coat like they did in season one,
yeah,
which was a very bad decision. I don't know
hmm
why they went for like the too gritty kind of look. You don't need it to be too gritty. Wheel of Time is really colorful. Like in the books,
yeah,
it's really really colorful. You can like
yeah.
peeps through the pages.
hmm
So again,
I'm. I was just gonna say about Tom. I am curious about what they're gonna do with that hat he's wearing.
yeah,
You know, since he was wearing, I was like, that seems like that's gonna be somebody else's hat
yeah,
next season.
yeah, but how? That is the
Gambling is my guess.
but yeah, I guess so. But again, that we're going into spoiler territory, but also not
Yeah,
but
I know.
not like a huge spoiler kind of a thing. But like
Yeah.
the hat which fits someone else is it's also a very throwaway thing that just eventually just happens to him. Or
hmm
that person
Yeah.
gets it. So I'm sure they'll find a way, but I
Yeah.
hope they don't do like a kill off kind of a thing with Thor. Like don't do that because
Right.
Thor's pivotal.
Yeah. Yes.
I'll
Yeah.
be mad
Absolutely.
AF
Yeah.
because of the things he does in the final book. So like I
Yeah.
mean,
He's a character you cannot kill.
yeah, and you actively grow
Yeah.
to care about because he's just like old curmudgeon who has survived
hmm
all of these things, and you want him to like please be safe, please,
Yeah.
old man, don't die.
Yeah. God. Yeah, for sure. Um, yeah. No, he's really good. Yeah, I'm in, man. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of setups for the next season that I'm interested to see how they are going to pull off. Like, I think Perrin's storyline, if they are able to uh, without getting into spoilers, if they're able to reduce how long that takes to
They've
resolve
already
by what
reduced it
by the
like hugely.
yeah by the decision that they made at the end of this season,
Mhm.
I'm I accept that. I'm for it
Yeah,
because, like I said, I love Perrin. There are things that he goes through that take way too long to deal with.
yeah. I'm just like
It's like
okay, first page of the chapter.
I read
Okay,
6 books. We're in the
last page
same
of the chapter.
place. What is
I
happening?
know, and
Yeah.
he's in the same place for so many books, and he goes through like multiple side quests, which are like, okay,
hmm
this could have been solved in half a book.
Yeah.
Robert,
Yeah.
come on,
Yeah.
Mr.
Yeah.
Rigby, please.
Please. Yeah. It's so interesting. Like I mean, you really understand how bad it is of like how involved Robert Jordan wanted to make every little thing.
Hmm.
And by the fact that Brandon Sanderson gets the opportunity to finish the book, which is supposed to be one book,
Yeah.
one finale, and has to spend 3,000 pages to finish it
Yeah.
and do it justice. And I think that that's like, I mean, I'm not saying that Robert Jordan is a bad writer. I do
Absolutely
like
not.
obviously people enjoy his
Yeah.
books for a reason,
Yeah.
but I do think in terms of he struggled so hard with pace and with like character relevance that I think it made things extend beyond what they should have been extended. Um,
Do you think he
and
went
yeah,
through a bit of a block during the slog phase?
I do think so. Yeah,
Because
I think either like a writer's block or he just didn't or he didn't want the story to end and was trying to like and subconsciously gave himself excuses to keep it going.
yeah, or like, okay, that's a very cool thing or that's a very important thing that's gonna happen, but I'm not gonna describe it right now because, like, I'm not gonna be able to do it justice. I'm gonna delay it and instead focus on this side character for, so many chapters and their
hmm
story and this room for the next 3 pages. Uh, because like
Yeah.
and that's fine, like people go through shit, people still read all of those books even through the slogs.
hmm
And
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I feel like it's the same thing that's happening to George R. R. Martin, but at a bigger
Yes.
extent.
Exactly.
And he's like, I'm
Yes.
just burnt out. And like
Yeah.
George R. R. Martin is just like is at that burnt out pace. The only difference is he's too focused on all the main characters, and
Hmm.
he doesn't want it to be like the slog phase of the Wheel of Time.
Yeah, but also doesn't he introduce multiple new characters in like book 3 or 4?
Oh yeah,
uh like he did it to himself too.
yeah,
I mean, I think it's an interesting point, like, to uh and a great way that the show can sort of like work this in is like, who is the focus of the story? You know what I mean? We can't afford to go all of these places. We can't afford to give everybody highlight episodes. And I enjoy the way that they tell the story, but I don't think that the writers specifically for the Wheel of Time series,
mm,
or the way that at least they're directed to write,
mm,
is set up in a way that allows for snappy
yeah.
but substantial storytelling, right? Um, like
It needs to
a great
appeal.
example of this is like, yeah, like a great example of this is like Free Rin, that anime is like, they will introduce a character and tell a whole story in like 7 to 10 minutes,
Hmm.
and it is great, and you understand what's going on, and everything is good, and you're like, cool, I'm bought in on this character. And I don't know that the Wheel of Time team either can do this or is going to be able to like be given the space to do it, and that's why I don't want a bunch of new characters
Yeah,
brought in. That's why I'm like more okay, if we're talking about specifically the TV series, I'm more okay with some of the decisions to like take people out of the
yeah,
story, um, because it just makes sense after a certain point where, like, if they're going to continue to only give them 8 episodes a season,
yeah.
they have to like focus on, like, I want to see Rand, Matt, Perrin, Egwene, Nynaeve, Elaine, right? And
Yeah.
then and then still give me my Lan and my Alana, and my Moiraine now,
And even
and
Leandrin now.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's
Like, I want
that's
to
a
know what's going
surprise.
on, like,
Yeah.
and then throw in some spicy Forsaken stuff occasionally, and then you know what I mean. Um, and even now, like, even just saying that, I'm like, well, there's still more characters too. We
Yes.
have, like,
True.
we need more
Yeah.
Avienda time. We need more Min time.
They-
So
Yeah.
we're gonna see more of the sea folk, and presumably, and and so, like, all of that stuff, like, it just builds up. And God, I wish they would give them more space to
I
write
know.
more episodes.
Like I said, I think I've also read it that when Robert Jordan signed off his rights to that shitty ass Red Eagle, which is now called iWat Company, uh,
Yeah,
whose name still shows up at the end of the episode. I'm like, ugh, ugh, what
yeah,
did I see?
yeah, yeah.
When he wrote that off again, Game of Thrones wasn't the thing at that point, and he was
Hmm.
very happy with like a Merlin kind of an adaptation.
Yeah,
Or you and I'm like, I can totally see a Wheel of Time being adapted in like a Merlin or even a Xena episode where you have like 24
yeah.
episodes for a season, 30 to 40 minutes,
Hmm.
and then you have so much room for all of
Yeah.
these moments, for all of these characterizations to come through. Obviously, you're gonna be held back by visual effects and everything, but over time, the story itself will be able to be more, how do you put it, faithful to the books.
Yes. Yeah.
But even with this, I'm like, okay, I can if they can produce like a modern Xena with still like at least the 12 to 13 episodes,
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
maybe with a lower budget, you don't have to have these all of these super flashy realistic VFX. I mean, like, I can suspend my disbelief. I grew up on old shitty VFX,
Yeah.
and I watched those and I was like, huh, that's so super cool. I
Yeah.
grew up on Spy Kids,
Hmm.
so
Yeah.
I would have been
Yeah.
fine with that.
Yeah. It is interesting to, like, because we're in a time that it's the perfect time for them to make a really strong fantasy TV series. Um, and Game of Thrones had like 16 episodes in season one, right? If I remember correctly, or 12 or something. Like, it was a pretty significant number. Um, and so it's just like, who gets the rights, who becomes the distributor, uh, and then because of who's producing it, how much are they going to let them get away with, and how much money are they going to spend on it? And it's a sort of a tenuous thing, right? Like we got like The Witcher, which is like hit or miss on stuff, um, but a well produced show in terms of like outside of the storytelling part of it, like, and I don't really I'm not a person that hates The Witcher TV series, but I know that it's not like everybody receives it well. um but and we also have Game of Thrones. Like if HBO picked up The Wheel of Time, like that's huge,
Yeah.
right? Potentially. But then there's other stuff like I don't know if you've ever read the Sword of Truth series, but they
I
made a
haven't.
TV show about it. It's fine. It used to be my favorite books a long time ago.
Mm.
And then the older you get, like it's just one of those things that just didn't
That
age
doesn't
as
really agree,
well.
yeah.
The more I understood as a like an adult, I was like, I don't know. But anyway, they made a TV series about it, and it just did not do well. And it was pretty cheesy. And so it's like that was like my bar. I was like, you know, fantasy TV shows, they're just not going to be good. And then Wheel of Time comes, or Game of Thrones comes out, and I'm like,
That'd be
well,
great.
maybe we could do a great job. So yeah, it's just I think who's producing it and
But who's writing
who's
it?
spending the money, yeah, who's writing it, yeah. And I do think like I mean you can tell that Rafe cares
Yeah,
about the story,
absolutely.
and wants to, I imagine there's a lot of it is budget and time, and
It's about picking your
um,
battles as well, right? Like, okay,
yeah,
like I want like one full episode of Rand exploring the Isle past and getting just
yeah,
that across to the stakeholders. They'll be like, no, you just add this as also, add that also, because and just cut that portion off. Uh,
hmm,
because like again from a stakeholder perspective, from all these producers perspective who might not have read the story and might not know like what the fans feel about it, they'll be like, that does not make sense to like dedicate one entire episode to this.
yeah.
But again, the exploration of it, I mean, it was super fucking necessary.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Do you remember in the books when he's going through the
Uh-huh.
timelines, when we meet the original Aiel, are they riding around in wagons? Because I'm like, if that when that seeing that scene was so because it's like here's this like
Yeah,
technologically advanced
and
world, and then
we could have
everybody,
like flying cars.
yeah, literally. I think that we actually might even see flying cars in. I don't remember if we do or not,
We
but
do, we
like,
do all
I'm like,
in season one
yeah, yeah,
finale.
yeah, yeah. And it's like, so are these people like, are you fashioning these people sort of like the Amish of like they also reject technology as well as rejecting
Well, not
violence?
that much technology, because like the case they put the Avenger solar tree or the sapling in looks like, oh, it looks like has it looks fancy.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, but is that just fancy artistry, or you know what I mean?
yeah.
It's such a weird, like, I don't know. It was a very silly thing. I was like, well, I don't know.
You know how
That's
I would
one weird
justify
decisions,
it?
but
You know how I could like
yeah,
retrospectively justify it if I wanted to? I'm like, it's just a cheesy decision, but this is how I will justify it. Is that maybe all of those technology is going to be more susceptible or more easier to track with, like for all the people who are
with
going
the
mad,
power.
or like just the
Hmm.
power itself. And maybe that's why they
Yeah.
like, which is like, oh, going with the horse and wagon is going to be more safer. It's just like, instead of going with this phone, you go
Hmm.
with
Yeah.
like an old just a keypad phone. You
Yeah.
can say that.
Yeah. Yeah. That's fair. I mean, I think, yeah, there's probably something to that. Like, especially if all of their technology is based around their use the of the power,
Hmm.
like you probably, as the world's breaking, you see less and less of that. Like,
Yeah.
I guess they talk about that. Like, there's so many things that they just can't recreate anymore because the people who made it aren't around and didn't.
Yeah.
There's the books that they wrote it in aren't there anymore.
Yeah, and you see
Hell,
that.
a whole university just fell to the earth and destroyed.
And like it becomes like a Sisyphus thing. By the time like one generation passes, the card that the Windowsora was supposed to be in, it just is like a ramshackle kind of a thing that you just like repaired and repaired, and it's just a completely new thing at that point.
Yeah.
Could be that.
Yeah.
Could be that, and like that could be like the origin of the Tinkers or the Tuathans
Hmm.
wagons kind of a thing, which
Yeah.
is like interesting. Lastly, Nawar, the
Yes.
music.
Yeah. So good.
I
It's
mean,
so good.
I have like Lorne Bell first hit it off out the park in like season one itself with the songs, which
Yeah.
was written in the old tongue of all things.
Hmm. Yeah.
And like
Yeah.
I was blown away by that, and they released like the translation version of it and the old tongue version of it. I'm like, okay, that's fucking cool. But
Yeah.
even with this season, you get some really good songs.
Yeah. They did a great job. It was cool to see, like, to give them the space to like let some of the characters sing too. Um,
Yeah.
uh, like Elaine's character.
Mhm.
I watched the little behind the scenes thing, and they talked about like, oh well, we learned she could sing, one
We're gonna
night,
have
so
to
we
find
decided
this
let's
song.
just get it done. Yeah,
Which
yeah,
was a fair thing. Although I did not like how it came about. Huh, you look like the daughter here. Bitch, how do you know?
yeah, yeah. How do you know? There's no TV. Yeah, that was a stretch
Yeah.
there. I mean, I don't know. Like, I think too, it's interesting because it's like the cultural or and really like the diversity of everyone everywhere that they've set up is great. Love it, amazing. But it's also like there's not enough people
Hmm.
who are like Elaine's not like a super visually distinct person
Yeah.
for everybody to understand this is what Elaine looks like. Um, like yeah, she's got red hair, but that's not like I don't know. It just doesn't seem like they've set that up enough in the show.
Yeah.
It was very much
Oh, this thing
a
has to
stretch,
happen,
a
and that's
coincidence.
why we're gonna
Yeah,
do this.
which I think could have been. They easily could have done something like you're faking your accent,
Mm.
or you know what I mean. Like you I bet you have money, or like you know what I mean. Like she could have had like
Yeah.
money hidden that they were trying to steal from her. Any other situation that puts her in danger that then makes Tom intervene,
Yeah.
I think could have been done. Um, yeah, that's too much of a stretch for sure.
Yeah. But despite that, The Hills of Tanchico is a great song.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's fun.
I loved her realizing it as she's singing it, like, oh, this is whoops. I didn't understand this is what this is about.
Yeah, and then
And now everybody's dancing to
and they're like, you
it.
know what? I'm gonna lean into that
Yeah.
just to
Yeah,
sell
yeah.
that more. And also the callback to Sing for Manitharin just before the battle. I was
Yes.
like, okay,
Yes.
goosebumps, goosebumps. I
Yeah.
started to sing along
Yeah. Yeah.
when I had that because okay, that's a good song. I need to sing to that. And that was good shit. Uh,
Yeah. I mean, especially too, like everybody kind of knows their part, right?
yeah,
Like I think that's what makes it interesting is it feels natural that this town has like sung the song together. And that's so like, the baritones know they're supposed to come in at this part and do this line and
yeah,
the layering and all that stuff. It's so good.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like we have sang it at Beltane for so many times. Like we're gonna sing it again just
Yeah. Yeah.
before the battle. It
Mhm.
is
Yeah. We didn't talk about, but I do want to
mm,
mention just, so Fail, incredible.
incredible. Oh my god, you're so absolutely right. I love Fire. And like this interpretation
Yes.
of Fire. I'm like, yeah, perfect, perfect,
Yeah. Yeah. And Bane and Chiad, great.
amazing.
Yeah.
Still sad about Paul.
They could. Yes, I am also sad about Gaul. I, I feel like there's space for him to get introduced in season 4 if they want to do it.
Yeah, if they want to do it, they could. Did they kill him off in the season one episode where they just find an Isle dead body,
I,
or was this was that
I
episode
mean,
of
I did wonder about that a little bit, but I don't. I think it's something that's like that's an unnamed character.
Mhm.
There's they could easily just bring in
Yeah,
another IEL, and he doesn't even have to be captured, right?
yeah.
Like it could be something because they
So many
basically
Isle,
put that specific storyline with
yeah,
Avienda of like
yeah.
parentifying
But like
Avienda and
so
releasing her
many
son.
Isle crossed the spine of the world and came into that world.
Yeah.
He could just be like just wander into, huh? And because like
Yes.
that's,
Yeah.
I think they find Bane and Shiar in a steading. Isn't that true? They meet Shiar in a
I
steading
think that's
first.
right. Yeah.
So they could very
Yeah.
easily just do that because they
Yeah.
could be like visiting a steading, in honor of Loyal's memory or something, and they could just like
Hmm.
find Gaul there and like easy writing. Okay, writers, take this, please. We have just solved. Uh,
Yeah,
we
we
just solved a
solved your problem.
problem for you. Oh
Yeah.
man, but yeah, absolutely. Like File, even though like first time reading through it, I was so fucking annoyed at File. Second time, I liked her a bit
Hmm.
more. Third time reading, I liked her a bit more. This time, like,
Yeah.
okay, I really, really, really like her. Really
Yeah.
like her. Uh,
Yeah.
she's feisty. She's tiny and feisty. She's like a hamster.
Tiny.
She's like
Yeah.
a
God, that scene whenever he's about to start fighting, he's like, "Get behind me," and she starts to argue. He's like, "Kill whoever I
I'm like,
miss."
oh yeah, that's the
Yeah.
perfect dynamic you need. That's like, yeah, that
Hmm.
yeah, that's parents' boo, and like, and
Yeah.
parent being her boo. But yeah,
Yeah.
overall, if you had to give a rating, what rating would you give this season? Not the show.
I think it probably would be like a strong, like if I'm just rating it as a
Mm,
television show and not as
the
like
family.
without any book fan criticism, I'd probably rate it like an 8, I
Mm,
think.
I-
I think. And with being a book fan, uh, and still like accepting changes and not accepting some things, I'd probably give it like somewhere around a 7, I think. Like it's still like there's so many strong moments
mm,
that I can forgive some of the things that I
yeah,
didn't enjoy.
yeah. There's so many moments and enjoyed, and so many moments I like question like, are you walking around Tarvalon like it's Sunday stroll? Huh? That
Yeah,
that
yeah, that's
that does
silly.
that's silly. You could easily show them being cool by sneaking around. I mean, that
Yeah.
would have been a cool thing to show at least, and that would have
Hmm.
justified it, like very much justified
Yeah.
it. Uh, but yeah, like for me, it's like a strong 7.5,
Yeah.
and as a book fan, it's gonna be like it's a 7
Yeah.
for me. But like, just if I'm gonna be show only, like if I hadn't read the books, I would have been like 7.5 easy. Easy
Yeah. Yeah.
7.5. Even I could even go up to an 8 just because of a couple of episodes. Uh,
Yeah. I mean, if you like just thinking back on the first like 4 episodes, I loved them. Like outside of like that, the IO walking around Tarvalon, like there's so many like great, just incredible
yeah,
moments in those first early episodes. And like, I don't know, we were off to a strong start. So
so
yeah.
many characters. Like we have yet to see more of Morghese, Gavin, and Khalad. Those
Hmm.
idiots.
Those idiots. Oh, and we got to get the Matt scene,
Oh, finally. Uh,
but there was no
there
crowd.
is no crowd.
So
Some people
you
justify
lose a
it.
point. You lose a point for no crowd.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, some people justify it like, okay, it's better if it's with no crowd and they like it more with crowd. Fair. I would have wanted more crowd. Uh,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
uh, but yeah,
I do like because this is like in the book thing, but like in the books, Nynaeve often like really like she looks at Gilad with a lot of like she's into him. Obviously, she's very attracted to him, and she loves Lan. But like but there's that, and then so I think what the really subtle of being like. I'm pretty sure everybody's into this, Matt. It was like a great line
yeah,
that they had her drop there. That was
yeah,
fun.
yeah. That and oh my god, like Matt's and Min's dynamic, I could have never expected it to be so good.
Yes.
We
Yeah.
don't.
Yeah.
It's not there in the books, like barely there in the books, and if it's there, it's much at like a later stage
Yeah.
because of certain reasons. But this, like, I think this is a great setup for what's coming in the future.
Yeah. I think if they had tried to make it more book accurate in this season,
Mm,
it would have been too
yeah,
complicated to get all the things that they need to get done.
yeah.
So I'm glad they've doing it this way.
Like they're
Yeah.
they're condensing. I was just gonna say condensation. They're condensing is like I think it's working. Although they're doing it things out of order, very much out of order, I would say.
Yeah.
Uh,
Hmm.
but still gonna be interesting how like when is the tier episode gonna be? I hope we don't stretch it till the end of this season 4.
Yeah.
I'm afraid they're gonna do that
My yeah.
because like,
My guess is like episode 2 would be my guess.
yeah, or max episode 3 max.
Yeah.
Because,
Yeah.
because we released
I
the
feel like it's
first
something they're
5
gonna want to get
episodes.
to.
and then you
Yeah.
end with like a third episode banger, and then you have like 4 episodes to explore more things with that. Uh,
Yeah.
we are gonna end at that because if I say anything more, I'm gonna spoil things for everyone.
I know. Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
For sure.
but,
Yeah.
Nawar, thank you so much for
Yeah.
talking.
Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna. There is a couple of more Wheel of Time episodes that I need to make. One of them is going to be exploring storytelling through music, um, with
Yeah.
regards specifically
Oh,
regards
yeah.
to the Wheel of Time, which I'm so excited to make. So we're
Yeah.
gonna look into that. And until next time, guys, I'll see you in the next one. Or rather, like I usually say, "Do se to ya sake."
Yeah.